Hello, hello. Hey, Kevin. Happy Friday. Adam is going to work on controller support in Skeleseller. Yeah. So right now it's possible, but not great to play the game on something like a Steam Deck. Adam wants to make that experience better. Okay. So yeah, I think today's going to be a little bit difficult because I don't have a ton of ideas for this stuff. And let's see what we have written down. All right, this is not the same as Steam Deck support. Even with a Steam Deck, people may have it docked or far enough away they can't use the touchscreen or trackpads. They may be using an Xbox controller. Yeah, interesting. Make sure remapping controls works. Probably want to allow remapping, confirm and deny. Make sure this doesn't render beneath battle windows. Okay, well, nothing in this issue is really probably super important, but I'll say look through this issue again. What is important is figuring out what paradigms you're going to use for this stuff. Let me plug in my controller now. Where's the cord? Here it is. All right, let me plug in my controller now and load up the game. Yeah, I want to design this. Switch to a new branch. Yeah, I probably need a new document for this. Okay, so if I just use a controller, can I even make it past the title screen? No, but on Steam, I think you can. Engage privacy mode. So Steam does something where it takes over mouse control with a controller. Yeah, it's loading up right now. Hey, Mohit Kumar. And hey, BRB Bathroom. Welcome in. I'm just launching Steam. I just wanted to do this off screen. Sure. Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, let me show this again. So here we are. Skeleseller. I'll just open up the demo. But I think I can even use... No, I can't control the mouse now. On Windows, I'm pretty sure you can control the mouse on this sort of screen. But I'm not positive. And I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just once you get into the game, what happens. Yeah, so now... Whoa, this is very sensitive. And it only works on one axis. I don't know what's causing that. Huh, that's strange. I wonder if I need to enter big picture mode. How do you even do that? Big picture mode. Weirdly enough, I can't hear any of this. I see that there's some audio coming through, but I should probably figure that out too really fast. Let me change this to this and then this. Yeah, I'm not hearing this for some reason. Huh. What about this? Oh, still nothing. This is very bizarre. I know that you're hearing noises right now from this, and I should be. I wonder if I can't hear anything. Let me load up a tune from Skeleseller. Town Theme 1. Huh, yeah, I can't hear that either. What is going on? Huh. Let me just unplug this and plug it back in. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the last time I listened to audio was probably yesterday. I'll try playing this again. No, I still don't hear anything. Oh, wait, no, there it goes. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Sounds like plugging it back in worked. So now can I hear sounds over here? Okay, it's super laggy. Super laggy. Added for VS Code. Yep, done. What's this thing called? Proxy audio device? Yeah, what if I change the buffer size? Does that help? Yes, that helps. Okay, great. So everything's fixed on the audio side. So there, now we go. Chef Alton, hello, hello. All right, so I'm gonna try to play through this. No, the same thing's happening. It's just like it's making the mouse fly across the screen and only in that one direction. Does any other axis work here? No. Okay, well, whoop. I think what just happened is that it allowed me to right click somehow. I don't know. All right, well, this is messed up. So let's get out of big picture mode here. I don't even do that. Done. Okay. Yeah. So let me go get a new document opened up here. New doc. Here we go. Controller support in Skeleseller. Okay, so overview. Right now, using the Steam Deck kind of works, but it's not great. Using a controller doesn't seem to work at all. I'm not even totally sure how we should do this. We didn't set up our buttons to have a highlight around them. Well, let me just list out the main problems. We need some way of doing everything via controller. Selecting UI elements. So like town menu. Choosing skills. Moving the camera, moving items around. Anything else? I just had the game open for all this stuff. Hey Matt, gyro support for VS Code when? We're working on that right now. We're getting gyro support in. Run main and it's complaining about a save file. I wonder if the save version was bumped in the PR from Kevin. I didn't actually look at that. Okay, do we have game saver here? No, just local save data. And there's no version in this. Huh. Hey, Karada. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good day so far. Lurking and working. Hope you all have a fabulous day. Well, nice to see you, Matt, at least. And yeah, I bet I'll see you again in a couple hours. All right, well, we can just save a new game. And that way we don't see that dialogue. Yeah, so imagine we're on the screen with a controller. I want to be able to access this stuff. I want to be able to move the camera. I guess zoom in and zoom out as well. Moving / zooming the camera. And I think something like this might be a little bit hard to do. So picking skills. Also just seeing tooltips on things. Yeah, that's another thing I didn't think about. And then seeing tooltips for non-hoverable UI or non-interactable UI. Like innate skills, health, etc. Oh man, it seems like the easiest thing to do would be to emulate a cursor. Then we can have some special affordance for the quick move menu. Do I have that in the thing? I don't. I'm going to go make that because I'm sick of typing that out every single time. Yeah. Quick move menu. Okay. Hey, Mr. Agent. Will it work differently between a PlayStation controller and an Xbox One? I don't think I'm going to do anything special on that front. I'm not actually sure if you plug in a PlayStation controller to a PC, like what happens by default. Does that touchpad thing let you control the mouse? Because if it does, then I guess we don't need to do anything. But yeah, I wasn't planning on supporting that directly. I also don't have a PlayStation controller to begin with, so it'd be hard for me to test that. Imagine control navigation should be doable with the focus and navigation options, but yeah, virtual cursor seems inevitable. Yeah, it does seem inevitable. Or we'd have to change, like, I don't know. I don't know how else you'd see the tooltips on all of this stuff. We'd have to make this selectable so that you could see what the tooltips are. And players might be like, why can I select these? I guess that's possible, though. We could certainly do that. The alternative. So yeah, I guess I kind of see like two high-level solutions. Emulate a cursor or allow for the focus to be on basically anything with a tooltip. We can have some special affordance for the quick move menu, e.g. make it be unlocked by default or add shortcut keys for it, but only when it's opened. Maybe a different focus style. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm torn because I think controlling the game just through the cursor on a controller would be annoying. Like you'd try to get to this thing, and I guess it's like if I use the keyboard. So I can use this as a mouse. And to get to something is not that hard. I can still click, but it's kind of annoying to move between these things. I still think it'd be better if we had like a keyboard first way of doing things. And then we probably need some way to like focus the menu. People might find it weird that you'd be able to select this even though you can't do anything here. We can also make it snap. Yeah, that's true. Snap to things of interest. Hey, Molback. Yeah. Oh man. All right. I'm leaning toward that as a solution because, and then there are little things we can do to make some of these UIs a little bit more, I don't know, a little more usable somehow. Other ideas. We should try to make individual pieces of UI more usable. Adding and removing skills. Once the cursor is over something, should be easy with the confirm/deny buttons. You'd even need to be able to select different adventures, though. That's the other thing. This is why I think if we just had a controller way of doing things, we need to like redesign the whole UI and have a controller first way where it's like, I don't know, you press R or L and switch between these, and then there's too many panels and everything. Hey, Magnetic Mind. So yeah, I think we're gonna do the emulate a cursor way. I guess the other thing is that this might be faster to do. So maybe we can make a lot more progress pretty quickly. Controller support, that sounds like a ton of work. Yeah, I think it all depends on how we do it exactly. But yeah, I don't want to rework every single UI. So I'm okay with this being like a mouse first game. And if people want to play it on a Steam Deck, they can. And we can try to make that a little bit easier for them. But yeah, I don't want to like re-envision all of these panels. Although I do sort of wonder how hard that would be. So let's take some pictures of UIs that we're going to have to consider. Scenarios to consider. So this is adding or like, yeah, battle map. Add, remove adventurers from your party. Choose a location. Choose whether to battle the elite or the regular fight. Unlock a new location. Pan the map. Okay, adventurers. Oh, weird. There we go. All right. Hey, Retechnic. If the game supports controller, it should also be fully keyboard accessible, though. Except that's an extra layer of work, I guess. I don't know about should be fully keyboard accessible. I don't really think I agree with that. We have some ability to use the keyboard in the game. Like we have camera controls. We have ways of opening different menus or switching between these tabs. But then we have no way of accessing these. And I think you can tab to this stuff, but there's no like tab indicator. I don't even know where. I don't know where this thinks it is. There's something we did with tab. I don't know. Which then means emulated cursor route is pointless. Even the Steam Deck can have the joysticks as a cursor through its own settings, as I'm sure you know. Yeah, I'm just thinking of what happens if someone plugs in a regular controller and they downloaded this through itch or something like that. Like I think there should be some controller support in the game. And yeah, maybe it's not worth doing a lot of this, but yeah, I guess there is one other high-level solution. Rely on Steam for most of this. But yeah, adventurers. Gonna be like select an adventurer, look at innate skills or look at what certain stats mean, level up, add, remove skill points. What else do we have? Just kind of moving items around. Look at the tooltip for an item, move an item somewhere. We have the quick move menu for that. Then I guess the world map. Or like town map. Give me the same thing. Pan/zoom the map. Point at a sign, interact with an NPC. Well, hover/interact with a sign. And I guess like harvest mushrooms, apples, or crops. Do I have Steam Deck? Yeah. And I've played the game on Steam Deck without doing anything for controller support, or like very little. It's playable. It's not great. Like, I wouldn't want to play the game that way. You know, there's some games where I guess there are mouse and keyboard controls and controller controls, and some people are in one camp or the other. Like FPS games, I play with mouse and keyboard, but some people play with controller. I cannot play with a controller. I just don't like it. But the games that I've played support a controller. Just not fun for me. I wonder if this is kind of how this would turn into. Like mouse and keyboard is the first class citizen here, and controllers are just like, well, we support them, you know, kind of. All right, so now we have perks UIs. Navigate between tabs. keeping in mind that the parent is also tabbed, and viewing perk information and then choosing a perk. All right, anything else in the main game? There's the settings menu and everything. I guess we should talk about menuing. Yeah. Menus. I mean, this stuff's pretty straightforward in terms of what people expect. So like open, close the menu, choose a button, change a setting. We have the town menu as well. Town menu. Choose a button. See tooltips. Yeah, I'm almost certainly going to go the emulator cursor route. We made the whole thing for mouse and keyboard. I don't think we're going to like spend a month adding controller support in a more fine-grained way. All right, anything else? I guess there is some other stuff in the world I didn't mention, like cast a spell. Where is that? Where did I put town map? Here it is. Cast a spell, open a treasure chest. We can have a special affordance for selecting items. There could be a way to move the camera or cursor, but then there can also be a way to interact with the current view. The D-pad could switch between items on the ground and move the camera there automatically. Yeah, if we did not emulate the cursor, so I guess I should talk about this. If we didn't emulate the cursor, what else we have here? Yeah. Then we would probably need to revamp each UI so that it's controller first. For example, consider Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild menu UI. Yeah, here we go. How do you open this? What is going on? I just want to see the picture. All right. There we go. All right, I know everything's in negative color because of Dark Reader. But here we can see there are two sets of tabs here. Well, maybe we write it like this. There are two sets of tabs here. The uppermost text on the screen shows that L and R will change between the first set of tabs. And then the item category is the second set of tabs and can be navigated with the right stick. Yeah, we would need something like this for our main menus. And it's probably not worth maintaining two sets of UI. Especially if people were ever to switch between mouse and keyboard and controller. I don't know, everything is just pointing toward this. How do we tab this back? There we go. So if you're emulating a cursor, all of these scenarios are just doable. And then you can just make things better afterward. I wonder what examples of games out there exist where they emulate a cursor and it's pretty much fine. I'm trying to think if I've played a game like this. I guess I wouldn't probably... Yeah, I wouldn't. I have the opposite example. I tried Silk Song on a keyboard, and it sucked on a keyboard, in my opinion. It's made for controller, and it allows you to play on a keyboard, and maybe some people prefer a keyboard, but yeah, I do not think it was worth playing on a keyboard. It wasn't like made for keyboard and mouse. So I kind of just feel like, yeah, we emulate a cursor. People can play on this. Maybe we even have a little warning at the beginning. Could even warn players at the beginning that a controller will work, but isn't great. RTS games that go to console. Oh yeah, StarCraft was on the N64. Although probably I shouldn't be looking back that far. But yeah, they had a whole bunch of like quick menus for things, for the actions of stuff that you could do. Yeah, like this. Build, advance, build, move. Man, okay, so Halo Wars. 2009. Now, there's a game UI database. I know about this thing. I just never like going here in case I don't have something I want to look at. Yeah, like, I guess this is kind of it. They use a radial menu. And yeah, I wonder how you, like here, there are 2 units selected. I wonder how you got those 2 units selected. Did you drag a rectangle using the controller? That sounds tedious. There might be like a select all on the screen. Move the camera using a left stick and rotate and zoom the camera using the right stick. Yeah, this probably worked. You could probably use this. I don't know if it seemed tedious. I think RTSs are difficult because I don't think you can make the controls all that great on controller. Like with Skeleseller, we could have designed it and made a controller first and then just made everything work. With an RTS, the amount of things you typically have to do of like selecting units, issuing commands, looking at points of interest, any events happen like you're getting attacked. Then there's typically some like crazy amount of units you can build or upgrades you can get. And you got to like be able to find all those. There's command groups if you ever select like I want an army 1 and an army 2. And just doing all this on controller just doesn't ever really seem like it's going to ever be good. So maybe, I don't know. I guess what's the goal here? What is the goal? Comes down to this. What's the goal here? Is it to allow people to play on controllers in a pinch? Is it to fully satisfy controller gamers? And I think it's the former. I think it's like if you only have a controller, you could use that. Do we ever plan on launching on something like the Nintendo Switch? I guess if we did ever do that, we would know that it's successful enough on desktop where we would have a pretty good reason to do it. And getting a Godot game on the Nintendo Switch is not trivial. You typically need to go through some like studio to port your game. Because Godot doesn't have that built in. Yeah, so my take on this is that we wouldn't publish to the Switch unless we knew the game was already successful. Yeah, it would take a lot of resources just to get the game on the Switch without even considering controller support. Now, something that's kind of funny is the Nintendo Switch 2 has like mouse support for their controllers. So actually, it's possible that you could get onto something like the Switch 2 and not really have to do very much. So yeah, kind of interesting. And then apparently PlayStation controllers have that touchpad thing, which I doubt is great for a game like this. But yeah, and I don't think Xbox controllers have any sort of affordance like that. Side note, the Switch 2 has a mouse mode for the Joy-Cons. Is Joy-Con hyphenated? Yeah, it's hyphenated. Huh. None of those results hyphenated it. Hey, partial data. Your porting is a nightmare in any engine. Yeah, I think it's easier though in the ones that have open developer kits and Nintendo doesn't. But I don't know too much about console development. I'm also not very concerned about it. Like if Skeleseller never came out on anything other than desktop, I'd be okay with that. Interesting. Touchpad is good for zooming. Yeah, like it might be good for certain actions here or there, but is it good for controlling a mouse? And I don't know the answer to that. I've only played, I think, Final Fantasy VII with that kind of controller. And there, I don't remember what they did with that thing. I don't think it was much. I think they just treated it like a button. I thought they're playing at a table where that'd be easy to do, though. Yeah. This is this is purely just a side note. Yeah, not that people may be in a setup where they can use that. Either way, I guess if we're emulating a cursor, they'd be able to emulate the cursor without being in mouse mode. Also, hey, Blub, long time no see. Simply gives you a Windows-style cursor you can move around with the sticks with only a few things supporting focus-based navigation. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this is probably the route we should go. And if we did a very basic form of this, we could probably have this up and running in like less than a day. But I think we need to do a little bit more than the basic form of this. So yeah. After thinking about this, I think a good combination of usability and input resources would be emulating a cursor. Yeah, we probably want sensitivity options. Hey, wait a second. Why, when I launched the game through Steam, was the right stick controlling the mouse? I didn't make it do that. Or is it set up that way by default? Project settings, input map. No, wait, no, none of this input map would even do anything because it's controlling the mouse. It wasn't controlling the camera. That's Steam doing that, right? But why didn't it work with up and down then? I don't have an answer to that. Steam big picture mode, Mac OS. Yeah, I think we consider this to be partial support. We're going to have to do that at some point too. Mark on Steam that we have partial controller support. That should just be in the issue. Make sure the Steam and itch listings indicate that we have at least partial controller support. Go into your Steam controller settings for the game. It's possible it's defaulting the stick to mouse. You do that for each game? Enable general setting. I can't click this stuff. Enable Steam input. System that translates your physical inputs into commands for the game. Oh, yeah. So it probably... Yeah, keyboard, WSD, and mouse. Interesting. Okay, I see. Yeah. So what is this layout that it didn't actually work? Right joystick, flick stick. Reset camera. Left joystick is WASD. Outer ring. Where's the... How do I go back? Yeah, I don't see. It doesn't exactly mention that this is going to control the. Oh, I guess maybe it's just kind of implied that this is going to control the mouse. Like, I don't see anything here for mouse. But this being WASD means that if we had just gone a little bit further, let me do that. If I had opened this up, Skeleseller demo, I could have controlled the camera with a left stick. Oh, we got to skip the intro. Oh, yeah, that's natural. But then, yeah, you can see the cursor just going crazy here. And like I said, it doesn't move up or down. Yeah, there's no way to do that. I can activate that, though. Yeah, this actually isn't too bad. As long as we can get the cursor to move. Oh, my God. It's so sensitive. I think this... Okay, well, we haven't done any work for this, so I'm not concerned yet. But if I can do... No, I just need the cursor to be, like, slightly to the left. Okay, I am barely touching this thing. Look at this. Yeah, I can't get this to go to where I want. There we go. We got it. All right, so now I can click build on this. No, we can't. No. Oh, wait, hey, there's zoom in. I forgot about that. Oh, that's kind of usable. Okay, so how do I... Oh, nice. That works too. Oh, I did it somehow. How? How did I do that? How did I click the thing? Oh, no. All right, let's just put the cursor there. All right, so it's right, whatever this is called, ZR. I'm using Nintendo names. I don't know. Right trigger, I guess. All right, so as long as I just use this for the mouse. So this works. Can I get an item? Oh, wait, can I move the camera that way? Oh, I can. Nice. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be too bad. Yeah, I think we can just emulate the cursor, and with zoom controls and everything, maybe it'll be fine. All right, so is there a way to do this through Godot? Godot, emulate cursor with controller. Use controller joystick as cursor/mouse. Can override Godot input mouse position in code. Oh, interesting. Which will affect the results of functions such as get global mouse position. You can do this with a function call where new mouse position is a vector 2. However, this will not move the actual OS mouse cursor. I didn't see a way to do this in Godot. So the cursor itself will remain stationary unless you physically move the mouse. To work around this, you'll need to hide the mouse cursor and draw a fake cursor sprite at the mouse position. You can hide this by calling this, then simply draw a sprite at the cursor position. Disconnect when you use a keyboard controller to move the mouse and the OS mouse. So if you move the real mouse outside the window, there will be a jump for a second where they don't line up. Okay, well, I think these are all things we can work around. It's for FPSs. Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, I don't think this is going to be too terribly crazy. So implementation, look at something like this. This basically just said hide the OS cursor and show one in game and call something like this. I want to create a post. I want to just copy paste that. Set the mouse position via this. All right, let's go make a new branch now before I do anything else. Git checkout -b controller support. Okay, what are we looking at? All right, I want to look at something more recent than that just to see, has anything been done? Add a cursor node. Mouse-driven UI with a controller is generally considered an anti-pattern. Instead, rely on the focused neighbor system to provide controller-driven UI navigation using the left analog stick and D-pad. Parse input events, sending mouse events. Won't glitch if you move the mouse while in active mode. Just moving the stick will fix it. Starts with the mouse captured and you need to switch modes to turn that off. If the mouse exits, the hover management is turned off. Non-portable ways to use warp mouse. Wonder why that's not portable. Yeah, so they make a new event, they set the device, they set the position, they set the button index, and then it's pressed, and then say parse input event, new event. Okay, so we got to do some practice here, some research and prototyping to figure out what we're supposed to use. So let's say this Reddit post. This Godot issue. They say not to use warp mouse position. Let's go take a look at why. Godot input warp mouse position. What happened? Is it gone? Found online is just warp mouse. Okay, fine. Whatever. Warp mouse. I still want to just find out what this is. It's only supported on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Sets the mouse position to specified vector provided in pixels relative to the origin. Has no effect on Android, iOS, and web. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Documentation for warp mouse. This only works on desktop platforms, not web or mobile. I mean, that's not really a concern for this. All right, let's try some things out. Let's go to town, unhandled input. And we're going to make it so that pressing page up, there. Pressing page up does something here. I don't know, input dot warp mouse. Okay, let's just set it to new vector 255. I just want to see what happens here. And then let's make page down, set it to 50-50. Like, what is this going to do? So we got to actually be in the game. So new game. Oh, it is actually moving the mouse. You see that? And it's moving the OS mouse, actually. Wow, okay. Well, that's nice. So yeah, I think we can use that. I think we can just, yeah, that's it. We just use that. Huh. Interesting. Prototyping the implementation. Okay, warp mouse is only usable on desktop platforms. It does move the OS mouse, which is probably what we want. And then we can cause it to click by doing something like this. So let's try this. What does that put us at? Okay, so 50-50 is not far enough down. We need it to be like 15 pixels down. I don't know, 20 pixels down. So I'm going to set this to this, 70. And then when you press page up, it's going to do this. So var event equal, or well, I guess we have to say like ev equals input event mouse button. And then ev dot device. What is this? Events device ID can be negative for special use cases that don't refer to devices physically present. See device ID emulation. Pressing F12 doesn't work on that. But maybe we could say that here anyway. Input event. Dot. Okay, let's just read this. Oh, I see. It's just a constant. Device ID used for emulated mouse input from a touchscreen or for emulated touch input from a mouse. It's going to be used to distinguish emulated mouse input from physical mouse input. Okay. Sure, let's do that. Then set the position. I just want it to be wherever it currently is. How do you get the mouse position? Mouse. Get mouse position. Yeah, it's something like this. Get global mouse position. Okay, then the button index equals mouse button dot left, and pressed equals true. And then we do input dot parse input event. Now, why is this a problem? Cannot convert from long to int. Huh, that's kind of funny. Okay, so now pressing page down is going to move the mouse hopefully onto a menu thing, and then pressing page up should act like it's clicking it. Strangely, this is highlighted yellow. Why is that? Oh, yeah. Wait, what? How can that be simplified? I don't think that's even correct. Unless it's going to say simplify by putting the type over instead of the var, in which case, yes, that's fine. Is it going to do that? Oh, no, never mind. It was the initialization, not the new. And now what's the problem here? Use trailing comma. Yeah, sure, whatever. All right, that's not going to change the code at all. So let's try this out. So we click new game. I press page down and it moves the mouse. I didn't move it far enough. Well, let's just nudge it a little bit farther down. And then page up. Page up does not do anything. It's... Oh, wait. Oh, it's probably pressing it. No, it's not pressing it. It's looking like it's doing something. I don't know what. But yeah, I need this to be even farther down. So let's say 90. And then I wonder if I need to omit an unpressed thing. So like 2 pressed equals false. I have 2. Probably there's an easier way to do this. Yeah, probably there's an easy way to do this. So let's try this again. So page down to move this there, and then page up. It looks like it's trying to click. This feels quite horrible. Yeah, we're just testing this out. Whenever I finally figure out how to do this, we're going to expose an API for this that says like click mouse button, and maybe it takes in an optional position. And maybe there's already a way to do this. And then that way you don't have to worry about this. We can use input map actions instead of raw events. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. So make a new input event that just uses the input map. Wait, though, will that work? I guess mouse motion and everything. We probably need to trigger mouse motion from this. I got to test that out too. To do, whoops. See if we can get this to trigger tooltips. We need mouse motion for that. Probably something like input.parse action. There's no other parse here. Simulate pressing, oh, just action press. Okay, but in this case, the action is like a mouse click. Yeah, there's no click. Because we don't... I get what you're saying. Like, we could pass in, move camera up or something like that. But we want it to click as though the user had clicked. Let's simulate or emulate sending an action, but we can't use the mouse for that. Or at least I don't think we can. Maybe we can configure it in the input map. Add new action, testeroni. No, this wouldn't do anything. What am I doing? Because I need to add I gotta put left mouse button here, but that's how we're going to trigger this action. Need to use action where we handle the mouse event too. I don't think we can do that. We need to change like every button and control and UI element in the game. Can you scale fonts in the game? We can we could probably do that. I mean, we can scale everything in the game. So if we want to scale fonts, we could just change the font size. Yeah, so maybe all I need to be doing is waiting a little bit longer for this. So how about this? Let's just change this to go down here. So now when I press page up, it's going to send, I should probably just reverse these. This sends mouse down, this sends mouse up. So yeah, maybe having a delay in between them is all I needed to do. When games like this are run on Steam Deck, fonts end up quite small. Yeah, it's kind of hard to fit everything. But we'll have to take a look at that too at some point. All right, so mouse down, mouse up. It kind of looks like it's working. Like you can see it's changing the tooltip. Oh, hey, that worked. Somehow. I don't know how. I had the mouse here and that's weird. Okay, now it looks like it broke. That's also not good. Hang on one sec. Let me look at that as long as I'm here. I did a bunch of work on this yesterday with the localization stuff. Yeah, I don't see any problems there. Why does it say Korean is having a problem? Oh, man. Do I need to just check this out? Check out main? Get pull? Yeah, none of that should matter. Why is that happening? Failed loading resource. Expected a quotation mark at the end of the message. Yeah, I assume that having a backslash here is bad, and this got messed up somehow. I don't know how, though. I'm guessing that's the correct way to do this. Surprised I didn't find that as a mistake. Hey, Flare. Second quote needs to be escaped on 7976. I think we're fine right now. The .po format's a little bit weird. Every line starts with quotation marks. So here, I think, yeah, it fixed the error. So we have quotation marks at the start and end of this, and then we have the escaped one here, and then we have quotation marks at the start and end of this, and then we have the closing escaped one here. So this is now correct. But I don't know why it didn't detect that as an issue before. In fact, I wonder what would happen if we just pulled this up, augment portal tip on weblate. How do we do this? What am I doing? Korean, search this. No matching strings found. All right, fine. Let's search for you have enough money. You have enough money to battle at a new location. This one. Huh. It renders it correctly here. There are the quotation marks. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know, but that fixed it, at least from what Godot was expecting. We probably should have some way of testing that out. All right, so I still don't have an easy way of emulating a mouse click. This only kind of works, and I'm still not even totally sure what this is doing. Like, maybe the mouse position needs to be the local mouse position. But then why wouldn't this consistently work? So what it thinks it's doing is when I press page down here, it thinks it's clicking, and then I press page up and it lets go. Maybe there can't be mouse motion in between, but it doesn't do anything there. That's what's weird. If I move it down to the adventurers button, then it clicks the battle map button. And then if I do this again, it's going to just mess up. Yeah, so now it errors. This is definitely not good. All right, so Godot emulate mouse click. It's then a pressed equals false event afterward. If you don't wait for the process frame signal to the what? Hmm. I mean, what Kevin suggested would work. We could emulate an action easily enough. And then we could have everything that requires a click to also allow this action. But I don't know how we would do this easily for built-in UI. I think we would need to extend every single control we use. Day one success. Young lady played my game at my booth among other nerds, and after she won a run, she stood up and went, "That was so awesome." Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, and thanks for sharing the pictures. Looks pretty cool. Hey, Rami. Hello, Mr. Rami, sir. Rami, how's everything going? How's your life going? Are you feeling good about things? Hey, Luna. You're able to use a button earlier with a controller, so that button must be mapped to an action. No, I don't think so. I was able to use a button with a controller because Steam is changing the button to be left click. So like Steam's the thing sending that input. If I loaded the game directly, so like not through Steam, then I don't think I'd be able to do anything. Because like here it is not through Steam, and nothing I do here does anything. So yeah, I think it was just Steam doing that. Let's say yes, sure. But that means the answer is no. What's wrong, Ravi? We expect it to be more or less cumbersome than localization. Probably less, but I'm struggling to even get buttons to be clicked. Oh, man. Parse input event. Yeah, I'm using parse input event. I wonder why it's failing after this. Give you an update in DM? Okay, yeah. This sounds serious. Yeah, indeed. Have to start somewhere. All right, so is this just not a thing? Button action mode was also set to action mode button press. It worked by just setting the event position, so this is the new code. Click set button index, click position. Can I just go to this thing? Isn't this pretty much exactly the code that I have? I think the real problem is I'm using get global mouse position. I think I need to get it from the viewport, like what this code's doing, but I'm not totally sure. But nothing else looks different, right? I'm setting the index, I'm setting pressed, I'm setting a position, I'm just setting a different position, and I'm making a new event. I'm also changing the device, which they didn't do. But this is get viewport, get mouse position. I imagine that's probably slightly closer to what I want. Get viewport, get mouse position. Let's try that now. Nothing too major, don't worry. Okay, I will not worry then. All right, so we try this again and again and again and again until it works. So we press page down to click and page up to let go. It's doing nothing. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Never mind. It's not doing nothing. I'm just being a dummy. Okay, it looks like... Yeah, it keeps crashing the game. I don't know what's going on here. Or what am I doing wrong? Maybe it's this set input is handled afterward. Although that should be setting the page up and page down is handled. I don't see how this could possibly cause the OS to panic. Why am I doing that? Okay, so we position the mouse over here. I press page down. I press page up. It does nothing. I move down to here. I press page up. It breaks. Oh, no. I wonder if this is broken through C# or something. Simulate a mouse click per code. Well, let's go back to that Godot issue. And let's download these cursor examples. I want to see what they say. Downloads, cursor example 1, cursor example 2. Okay, so we got a GD script file here. They make a new event. They set the device to -1. They set the mouse position. They set relative. I didn't do that. I also didn't set the velocity. Then they parse this. They're making a mouse motion though. I guess that's why. So here we have mouse buttons. Device position, button index pressed. So is action pressed and released? Yeah. Interesting. This is how I would expect this to work, and this is pretty much what I'm doing. And why'd they say this is bad? Extremely basic. Do not use this for anything production, but do analyze it for the basic approach to accomplish this sort of thing. You'll glitch if you move the mouse while in active mode. You need to switch modes to turn that off. So cursor 2 is using their warp mouse, I'm guessing. I understand their technique that they're using here. I just don't know why it's not working for me. It might be a C# thing, in which case I should probably try in GD script. So what are they doing in this one? This is cursor example 2, yeah. So here they use warp mouse. And in this one they use parse input event. Okay. I see. All right, how I move the mouse, I'm not actually too concerned with right now. It's just how do I get this stuff to work? And this is all exactly the same, right? Compare with this. Well, it's not exactly the same, apparently. How is it different? Is it just tabbing? If active is over here, I see. And how do you set it to active? Toggle mode. Active equals not active. I see. Yeah. Well, I think in terms of implementation, like if we're going to go with a virtual cursor, we need to figure out how we want to do the virtual cursor. And there are a couple ways of doing this. One is handle the entire thing through the game. So imagine that you're playing some like basic platformer. You know, you move the character with the right arrow, and you move the character right with the right arrow and left with the left arrow. So instead of a character, we just have a mouse cursor. And we move this and we handle it within the game just like how you'd move anything else. And 2 is handle it through the OS, like essentially, which is you actually move the mouse. And yeah, you wouldn't have an idea of an OS cursor and a game cursor. You just have one cursor. I wonder if this is a C# problem. I kind of want to, I guess we could just open this up and find out, right? So in cursor example 2, they don't do this active thing, do they? No, they don't. Yeah, so if I just open this up, it should be working. Do I have to start this? I don't think so. All right, so how do I do this? What are the controls? Cursor left, right, up, and down. LMB. Okay, what are these set to? Because clearly I don't know. Maybe WASD and something else. Oh, joypad. Okay, then I should be able to use the controller. Yep, nice. Okay, we're very slowly moving the mouse. And then we press... Oh, nice. Yeah. So there's some oddities here where it's like bouncing between... Wait, is it? Yeah. Like this, where I move... I'm entirely within this button, and you can see that it's selecting other buttons occasionally. So I don't know what's causing that. I wonder if that's just a bug in their processing code. But yeah, this shows that whatever they're doing here is working. And this is what they're doing. There, whoops, it's actually this example. Yeah, this is what they're doing. I don't really have any difference here. Yeah, I don't really have any difference. We make a new event, we set the device, we set the position, mouse position. Mouse position is... It's the wrong code. It's set to the event position of the mouse motion event. Okay, we can do that too. But then, yeah, everything else is the same. Yeah, I do wonder if this is a GD script thing or what. I mean, here's what we could do. We could track what this is. So I could just say sending mouse down at there. This would be sending mouse up. Oh, I should take a break. This has been an hour. All right, let's take a break now so I don't... ads are running. I'll be back. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello, close the game. Hey, ABC. Hey, TJ. Okay, so we're going to send some events at certain positions, and I wanted to print out what these positions were. And I also wanted to figure this out. So if it's mouse motion, I want to print out where these are taking place. Because I think either these positions don't line up, or I don't know, something else is wrong. So if event is input motion event, and yeah, sure, whatever, device is greater than 0. I just want to do gd.print mouse motion at event opposition. Perfect. Okay, then we close out of this stuff. All right, now what's the problem here? This should be ev. And then we can't use that. So ev5. Merge with the previous one. Sure. Okay. So this will let us know if the position is wrong. And then if that doesn't fix anything, the only thing I can think of is it's just we got to do this through GDScript. Now, thankfully, that's not necessarily a problem. We can have GDScript and C# together. It would be annoying, and we should probably try to go to 4.6 and see if that's fixed there. But yeah, anyway, so it should be printing out mouse motion events. Yeah. So interesting. There is no mouse motion event over this. That's probably why this was an issue. No, now we're not getting mouse motion events at all. Huh. I think maybe town's not the place to put this code. Yeah, we only get mouse motion events when we're over a dialogue here. All right, well, anyway, if I put this at exactly like 50, what did I type in? 70, 50. I didn't type anything in. I don't need to type anything in. I just had to press page down now, and it should be at 69.557. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know then. Yeah, I think this is a GDScript thing. And then it's like infinitely sending mouse down. That's why it breaks. And I think that's because we're not marking this as handled. That doesn't make sense though. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Is action pressed and is action released? Shouldn't it be just pressed and just released? Huh. Because, yeah, it showed... Where was that? Okay, it's really hard to find. But... somewhere here. Come on. Oh, man. I didn't just make this up, did I? There's somewhere where it showed like, yeah, there. Sending mouse down. 18,000 of these. And weirdly enough, it sent it at some odd location. So yeah, there's a bunch of little things that seem like they're going wrong here. Strange. Hey, bums. Hope you had a good day so far. Yeah, I think it's been okay so far. We're still just kind of exploring what it will take to get some controller support in the game. And I'm not super hopeful that this is going to be simple. So yeah, there are two problems that we've discovered here. So if I use just this code, when I press the mouse the first time, or when I press page down the first time, it emits one event with the correct coordinates. Then I press it again and it's not multiplied by the same numbers. I don't know why that's happening. 290 divided by 69 and 175 divided by 58. Yeah, it's not like it just multiplied it by some ratio. It moved it somewhere else. I wonder if it's because the viewport changed. Yeah, I wonder if I just shouldn't be doing this from town. And it changes coordinates and emits like 19,000 events. Oh, boy. All right, well, let's just try it on the title screen, right? Why am I doing it over here if we are not confident it's going to work like that? So I'll just copy all this out of here, and we'll put it on the title screen. And then put these things back in. And let's try that out. So if it works here, then it's a problem with viewports, which is maybe even harder to solve than what I thought. Well, yeah, so mouse motion showing up fine. Now we have the mouse at 207. Well, it kind of stops doing mouse motion at that point. 185, 858, thereabouts. I press page down. And yeah, it sends like a billion mouse down events. Why is it doing that? How could this code even possibly do that? Probably because it's parsing this event, which is maybe going into unhandled input again and calling this. But that would mean that it's parsing the event with UI page down. And it's not. It's an input event mouse button. So it must mean that this doesn't do what I think it does. We could put something like this in here. We could put like private bool handled equals false. Or true, I guess. No, wait, what do we have to set this to? False. Unhandled input. Okay, so if this is the case and we haven't handled it, then mark it as handled and then mark it as unhandled. I think that's going to fix the infinite sending out of events. But yeah, this is also pretty strange. It's probably going to cause issues. And that's what Godot should be doing anyway. So now let's try. No, it still says sending mouse down like a million times. What? What? All right, I don't understand this code at all. I don't know how this could happen. I'll put a breakpoint here. Yeah, I want to figure out what's calling this. Oh, this isn't going to help, is it? I got to put the breakpoint here. Okay, now we press page down. It didn't even break in. Oh my God, I'm in the wrong code. Oh my God. Okay, my bad. That was entirely stupid. Yeah, I meant to add this up here. I was like, this should be impossible. Something weird is still happening. Just to be clear here. This is just to see if I can stop this thing from happening. I want to figure out like how much could I work around if I were to do this. I don't want this code to be brittle. No, it's still sending a million of these. That's bizarre. Okay, now something is completely baffling. Oh no, it's because I put it on the wrong line. Oh, I'm really being very dumb about this. So the only thing I can think is that this is always evaluating the true, even though it shouldn't be. And it must have to do with calling parse input event. So what does this do? Feeds an input event to the game, can be used to artificially trigger input events from code. Also generates input calls. Calling the function has no influence on the operating system. Sending an input event mouse motion will not move the OS cursor. What am I missing here? All right, let's try something else then. Let's say if is action pressed. This is not going to work. Okay, so on the plus side, what we've learned here is we can simulate mouse events. We can call clicks. I just can't figure out why we're entering some practically infinite loop here. Let me dissect this code for a little bit. Ignore the handled stuff that we have. So we make a new event. I'm just like dot, dot, dot here. And then we call input dot parse event and then mark it as handled. So I'm just going to leave all this commented out. I guess it doesn't really matter. So we see that page down is pressed. We send an event. It gets marked as handled. And then Godot sees unhandled input for UI page down again. So how is it seeing it again if I've only pressed it once? Is this something? Oh man, what could that mean? Let's try something really fast here. When I press page down, is it? No, that's weird. Yeah, that's definitely weird. Okay, so my computer thinks that it's getting like a million different button inputs. If I unplug my mouse, is this still happening? Yes. Okay, if I unplug my keyboard, yes. And if I unplug the controller, no. Okay, so I think the controller's messing this up somehow. Oh man, if this is still because I have Steam open, this is going to be a gigantic letdown. Wow, I'm glad I looked into this. I didn't think this would show us anything. All right, so did that just fix this problem? I'm going to be so mad. Regardless. If it's fixed, I'm going to be mad. If it's not fixed, I'm going to be mad. So get ready to see me get mad. Oh, man. Did it print a bunch of times? It did print a bunch of times. Yeah, it's printing like 36,000 times. Oh, because I got rid of the just. Okay, never mind. That doesn't matter. Yeah, I was testing something earlier and I never actually finished and then had a meltdown. Okay, so let's see how it works now. No, it's still sending a million of these. What do we see when I just press page down over here? That's fine. That's fine. I should probably... I don't know if Steam has anything to do with this at this point. I don't have the controller plugged in anymore. I still don't know how this is happening. Maybe we should set it as handled before we call parse. Oh my god, that might be it. Yeah. Although we technically haven't handled it yet. No, that doesn't help. Okay, what if we just never call parse input event? Is this getting hit like a million times anyway? Okay, it's not getting hit a million times. So it does have to do with this input parse input event. Okay, I think we should make a minimal repro at this point. Because, yeah, something's going wrong here. And I bet this wouldn't happen in GD script. But I'm still not sure I understand. Also, why do we even... Yeah. Not sure I understand. Let's take a look at this really fast. What does it say? Stops the input from propagating further down the scene tree. Does not affect methods in Godot input, only the way events are propagated. We can't do this first, right? We haven't done anything. Oh, unless, oh my God. Okay, there is one thing that could make sense here maybe. That Godot knows we made a new input event and then I'm marking that as handled maybe. So I need to put this even up here. That would not be what I'd expect, but it is possible. This is calling into native code and they might keep track of the last input event to get processed and put that on a stack or something. All right, how's this working? No, that did not fix this. All right, so all of my theories are not sound. So let's just go make a new project. I guess I'll load up quit the project list. Yeah, I have no explanation for this. I think, well, my explanation is that this is a bug. All right, so what do we call this? Input bug repro. We don't need that. Okay, so we're just going to make a scene here, I guess, and attach a script. We're going to call this language C#. We're going to call this main.cs. Sure. Okay, now we take the code I have from over here. So just copy paste all of this stuff and put it over here. All right, so mouse motion, yeah, sure. UI page down. Does that even exist in the project? I gotta make sure it does. Input map. Show built-in actions. Is page up there? Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, page up and page down are there. It doesn't really matter. We could use enter and space. Yeah, I could use UI accept. Yeah, let's do that. UI accept. And I don't care about this. And I don't care about that. Okay, and we're going to delete handled from here and that and that. And I don't know where we put this or if we put it there at all. So this is pretty much all we have. Sending mouse down and you press UI accept. And I guess in order to test this, we need a button to be in the scene. Add button. Click me. Say this is main.tstn. Okay, and then we'll get that private button equals null. GD ready, button equals get node. And button dot pressed plus equal you click the button. Okay, so that's it. Let's go try that out. Hey, hard worker. Things are going okay. I am hoping I can actually make some progress here, and I am now trying to make a minimal repro for what I think is a bug. So if we click this, it says you click the button. If I press enter, oh, I guess that's not technically, this is not how you should test this. Yeah, we should use UI page down because that way we know that we're not just clicking it because it was focused. So now I press page down over it. It says sending mouse down. That's working how I'd expect it to work. Oh, no, output overflow. There's the problem. And I guess if I run it from here, can I even do that? No, I think I need a launch task or whatever. Yeah, because it sent like a million of these, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the problem. I didn't even do anything else. And I bet if we did the same thing with GDScript, it would be okay. So now we're going to go make a, I guess the exact same scene. And attach a script over here that's in GDScript. And call this main.gd. And save this as main GDScript. All right, I always forget how to use GDScript. So there's some like on ready var button equals button. Yeah, I don't remember any of this. All right, let's just go into my code folder. Code Godot fftype.gd. Yeah, here's a repro that we have here. Viewport repro. Viewport repro. All right, so just open up camera 2d.cs. Or not CS, what am I doing? GD. Let's just open all of these. One of these files has to have an on ready or something here, right? No. No. Hey, happy chappy. Oh, well, I guess we could just search for on ready because I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Oh, that's in the wrong folder. There we go. Yeah. So here's what it looks like. And I think that's what I did. Yep, cool. Okay, so now we need a pressed or a clicked. Is it clicked? I want to search just through. Oh man, it's pressed. Okay, yeah. Oh, hey, nice. All right, does that work? Because I don't know what I'm doing right now. All right, so I want to run this scene, and we should be able to click the button. Yep, good. Okay, that's what I want. Now we need to take this code and put it into GDScript. So this will be func unhandled input event. Is action just pressed? Sending mouse down. Make a new one of these. Set all this stuff. And then call that. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And I'm guessing this is not going to have the same problem that our other one did. Oh, you know what I should do? Button left, not declared in current scope. Where's that? Yeah, what is it supposed to be? GDScript button left. It probably comes from somewhere. I don't know where. Mouse button left? Oh. How could these possibly be correct? They don't use snake case for that? Okay, yeah, sure. All right, so we need to make it clear that we're in the GDScript version of this. And then this one should be clear that we're in the C# version of this. Okay, so we run this. We should be in the GDScript version. We click it, it works. We press page down. Yeah, it doesn't cause a problem. So this is the C# issue. Oh man, I mean, it's also not working the way I want it to, but I think we can make that work by doing this. We just do page up and then set this to false. And I think we're done. So let me rerun this. So now I press page down and then page up. Yep, you click the button. Look at that. This is how this should have worked like an hour ago when I tried this. All right, so let's go see if there's already an issue on this. C#, what's this thing called? Parse input event. User generated input action keeps spamming and never stops. Yeah, 2023. Should have just searched for a bug originally. Correct code is action pressed. Use this in process, but never directly in input. This should probably be documented more clearly. What? It is already documented, at least partially here. All right, where? I don't even see the word just on this entire page. Oh, I'm mad now. I'm mad now. Is action just pressed? Where do we find the input page where this shows up? Because I know this exists. There it is. Just pressed. Returns true when they have started pressing the action event. It will only return true on the frame or tick that the users press this. Is useful, blah, blah, blah. During input handling, use is action pressed instead to query the action state of the current event. Okay, well, this was a waste of time. But hold on a second. This is the part I don't understand, because this is going to have the exact same issue, right? Where we're always going to detect that this is pressed. And why isn't this a problem in GDScript? Huh. I don't know the answer to this stuff. So here's the button. I press page down. It sends it once now. Are you kidding me? Was it this the whole time? Oh, I'm annoyed. All right, so we do that and that. If this ends up fixing this even for Skeleseller, I mean, great, I guess. I think we've been using this wrong the whole time. All right, so I press page down, page up. Yeah, you click the button. Wow. Look at that. It works exactly like how I want it to work. Just a small problem. Okay, so where do we use just press? How many places? 33. And every single one of these is wrong? And we just never saw any repercussions from this? Well, some of these are the new ones I just added, but yeah, in a lot of cases, this is what we do. So what does pressed mean? Returns true if you're pressing the event. May return false even if one of the actions keys is pressed. See input examples for more documentation. They don't show just pressed in here. Sometimes you want your game to respond to an input event, pressing the jump button. For others, you want it to happen as long as it's pressed. In the first case, use input. Oh, okay. I see. Event also has a function for is action. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. I understand. Yes, this is okay. Let me write something down here. We need to change every, what is this? I can't believe I'm just learning this after using Godot for so long. This is so basic. It's just meant to be used in process, apparently. We should be using event.isActionPressed. That is different from input.isActionPressed. Oh my God. I cannot believe I didn't know this. Okay, so let's unwind the stack here for a bit. If we go back to Skeleseller code and we go back to the title screen and we change this to what it should have been, which is event.isActionPressed, except for that's not what it's called. Oh, it's at event. So we change that. So not be executed conditionally, only the first line of the one block. What? Okay, there we go, fixed. And I put that in the wrong spot. I meant to put that up here. I don't care about the UI cancel thing from that. So we don't need this thing about handled. We don't need this. We don't need this. Anything else? No, I think that's it. And yeah, I think this should just work totally fine. So let's try it. This is where we've discussed this before. We might have. I feel like my brain has a lot of things swirling around it at any given time. Okay, so it looks like it should have pressed that. But it didn't. I don't know. I don't know when we need to do this. Maybe I should do this down here. Or maybe down here even. I didn't restart the game, so this might not prove anything. Sending mouse down at 247, 894. That's probably correct. And then sending mouse up. Okay, let's try this again. But now we have the set input as handled in a different spot. It's printing in the right way. It's just not actually clicking the button. Calling parse input event, right? Am I? I might have. I've done so much now. I should probably just read the code again. All right, so page down, sending mouse down. We send a left pressed, and we actually call parse on it. Then in page up, we send a left up, and we call parse on it. Yeah, all this looks correct to me. This is one of those tech that never impact anything. Well, so yeah, essentially yes. My definition of tech debt is pretty much like when you kind of save time now to cause issues later, but usually it's knowingly doing it. That's kind of how I think about it. I guess that's at least my mentality around this. I didn't knowingly do this, so this is really just a bug. I guess you consider all bugs to be tech debt. Anyway, I'm not sure why this isn't working now. That's the only issue. Because it should click this. If I just directly click it, it works. So we know that's not a problem. Oh, wait. Oh, something. What? Hang on a second. I left click. I do this. Sorry. Okay. So this is hard to describe. I can mouse up via pressing page up. So if I mouse down with the mouse and then never let go, you can see this button is pressed, and then I press page up on my keyboard, and now it has clicked the button. Similarly, if I press page down, now it thinks the mouse is down. Wait, I have to hold the mouse down already, and then I press page down on this, and then I let go of the mouse. No, that didn't work. Besides, I just did this. How did I do this? I don't know how I did that. Maybe it's in the wrong location. It could be, but when I press page down, it does darken this button. So why would it darken the button? Like, I move the cursor down to here. I'm not touching the mouse at all. This is just through the keyboard. Then I press page down, and the button is darkened. Is it the same level of dark as if I click? No, wait, is it? I think it's even darker when I click. Okay, let's take a screenshot. Can I even do that? I don't think I can. Okay, so that's click. Whoop. And then this is... Oops. Oh, no, I lost the other screenshot. Which one's darker? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not doing that anymore. The other thing we could do is instead of this position, we could use the mouse position. They might even be the same. Or maybe what's happening is that we're getting... No, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for this. Sending mouse up, sending mouse down. I'm not sure. Maybe we can put these things up here, maybe. But I don't think that has any impact. So if it is in the wrong location, I guess we can just test that pretty easily, right? We can test it by just putting it in a random location pretty much. So I'll take these and I'll set them to new vector to 0, 0. And that will let us know. So now if I press page down and it doesn't darken the button, then we know it's not, that the location was correct before this. All right, something's weird. Is the button handling page down? Maybe it doesn't matter what code I have. I don't know how that'd be possible. So if I just delete that code entirely, does page down do this? And why would a button handle that? No, it doesn't. So it is something that's happening from here. But the position doesn't seem to matter. Okay, I feel like I'm making a very simple mistake somehow. And I'm just not sure how. Mouse position. Mouse position was set from the motion event. Okay, let's do that. Let's pull the mouse position from the motion event. We'll just save it. Private vector to last mouse pause. Unhandled input. We'll just set this here. And then here we'll use this. Actually, this should be changed too. Yeah, and then change this one. Okay. I didn't expect to be hardly anywhere at this point. Still seemingly not working. So mouse motion, we get down to here. Now it sets the mouse down at that position. Huh. Do you have some custom handling of inputs for those buttons? These should just be regular buttons. Title, screen. Story mode button. What is this? It is a button with sounds. Okay, so so it's a button, and then we happen to add this to it. How does this work? This adds mouse entered and mouse exited. Yeah, I don't think that should cause any problem with this. Hey, Josie. But it's true that they are not just straight up buttons. So let's add one to the title screen. Button. Click me. Where is this thing? There it is. I will put it right on the skeleton's forehead. Click me. All right, now we'll give that button a handler. You press the button on the skeleton. All right, I moved on to the nose, but that's okay. All right, so put this here. No, that's not working. If I click it through the mouse, it works. If I click it through the keyboard, it doesn't. Why did this work in my test project then? What am I doing differently? How am I messing this up? Well, we know this code's working. So what did I do? How is this different from this? If input is... Oh, this uses input. But I thought that's what I didn't want to use. I'm pretty sure this is not the right thing to do. And then it might work, but it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, no, this is exactly the problem. And now I've crashed everything. This is an unhandled input, right? Come on, close the game. Stop spamming. Oh, man. Yeah, I might need to restart VS Code. Oh, there we go. All right, so now clear this. I don't want that there. So unhandled input, we had the same thing. I guess let's change this to @event. Oops. That's what I think this should have been. And then restart this. Yeah, it still works. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't wrong about which thing to use on the left side. I wasn't using that on the right side. But is there any difference now? So we print something, make a new event, the same, well, this I've changed since last time. So I want this to be here. Okay, so now that's exactly the same, that's the same, that's the same, and there is no set input as handled, so let's just get rid of that. Wait, did I change the events back? No, I didn't. All right, so that's the only difference I had. So I would expect this to work now. It does not. Does it work on this button? No. It doesn't work on any of these. What happens if I just send mouse up a bunch of times? No. Yeah, nothing seems to matter. If I just kind of semi-randomly push these things. What's the difference? I don't even know what the difference is. I have the same code down here too? Yeah. Yep. Huh. I mean, I guess the only, well, the core of this is the same, but there are some other differences. Whoops, I didn't mean to press that. There are some other differences. I have more stuff going on in the title screen. I have other things that presumably have unhandled input even from the title screen. Although nothing should be acting on page up and page down. These are like exclusively debug things. Yeah, I have it in a blank buffer there. What about over here? Yeah, we never use page up and page down anywhere else. I don't understand it. Is there event.parse input? Stop responding. I don't know why there would be. Because it's the input system that needs to do this. There is a parse input event? No, that's not there. Yeah, there's nothing like that. Did I use the... No, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to cut out everything else we have. What am I missing? Viewports? Is there a viewport difference in the title screen? This is all inside of a canvas layer. Maybe that matters. So if I throw this inside of a canvas layer, does this just break? No, still works. Is there any other difference? I mean, it's also inside of a control. Maybe some of this would matter somewhere. Mouse is set to stop. Mouse should be set to stop on all these things, right? Set to pass there, but it's propagate up. And here it's set to stop. I mean, maybe that has to do with this. There's an HBox container. Let's get the exact same structure we have. Or close enough to the same. All right, so we have a control. We have an HBox container. And then we have the button underneath there. This has mouse input set to pass. This has it set to stop. This has it set to presumably stop because otherwise the button couldn't even work. Yeah. All right, so now we run this. Still working fine. Still working fine. What am I missing? This is only a child of the control here. Is there something about this maybe? Auto translate, layer, transform, follow viewport. Yeah, none of this should matter. If you launch from Godot, does the debugger show which control is clicked? Let's see. Let's see if it even happens over here because I'm not sure. So debugger, misc. So it's this thing that Kevin's talking about down here. And if I go over to this, I think in order to make this work, I need 2 buttons. Otherwise, we won't know that it's working. So if I click this and go to debugger, yeah, so now it says button 2. Now what happens if I go over to here? Yes, it does say button. In fact, it says button as soon as we mouse down on it. Let me try that. YouTube chat is not that active, I think. Yeah. Not many people talk on YouTube because I have it set so that people can't chat unless they've been subscribers for a certain amount of time. Because I don't want people chatting on YouTube generally. people as of late have been fine, but it's because I put that gate on who can chat. Otherwise, I get a lot of like trash messages. Maybe I should open the floodgates and see if that happens again. All right. So here we can see, oh my God, there's no way to do this, is there? Yeah, that'll work. All right. So you can see here, it says background. So if I move the mouse over to here and then I press page down, it changes to the logo. That's kind of funny. So that's what's happening then? It thinks it's clicking the background or the logo? I get why it might think that, but this stuff should have mouse set to ignore, right? It's set to pass. But control should know what this is supposed to click. Oh, man. Okay, well, we can stop this. We can just set this to ignore and this to ignore. And that might cause this to work. But I need to do this in every single scene. It still thinks I'm clicking the background. I might need to restart this. Hey, Maya. Feels like the click is not in the right spot. I think it's in the right spot. I think it's going to the wrong, like, Z index. Now what does it think I clicked? Quick game button. Okay, well, that definitely does not seem like it's in the right spot. However, it also is not activating the quick game button. So I don't know what's going on there. Which API is used for controller input? It's all just done through Godot. So Godot managed it themselves. I don't know what they're using underneath for this stuff. Yeah, this would make it seem like it's in the wrong spot. But then how does it work in the test project? Is it because I never repositioned the buttons? Like, is it because this is, how do we do this? This is anchored somewhere. Yeah, center bottom. Okay, let's try that. I am so lost. Center bottom. I don't think this is going to have any impact. I think this is still going to work. Something about this project is causing this all to be fine. Yeah, it's still working just fine. Maybe we need to do all the other things that we see here. Like add in a giant logo thing and a bunch of other stuff. But I don't know. What if we just move these to be in the root? They disappeared because of the logo in the background. Yeah, okay, let's try that. Does this help somehow? I mean, maybe it did and I hit everything, so I don't know. I guess if we tried it on quit, we would know for sure. No. All right. Well, what do we do? I don't even have any ideas. Here are the facts that we have so far. In the minimal repro, I can use page up and page down to click the button. In Skeleseller, I can't use the same code to click. Skeleseller has more elements in the scene, so it's possible that one of them is negatively interacting with the input events. Click Me was blinking as well when you click quit. So you are correct. Is that something that happens even when I manually click? Huh. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know how you should do this. I don't know why it's not working. Because the other thing I got to think about is if this doesn't just work when I drop it into a scene and I have to make like a million other changes, this is probably not a good solution. What else can I do? I don't know. I guess what we could do is we can cut things out of the title screen until things start to work. So we just start deleting stuff or turning them off. Although moving these buttons up here is kind of the closest I can get to that. In fact, there, now everything's turned off. All right, how's that work? So now all we'll be able to test with is the quit button, because that's the only one we'll know for sure whether it worked. And it's not doing anything. Okay, what if we just put the quick game button right there? And then let's move it to, I don't know, there-ish. No, it's still not doing anything. And I'm guessing it thinks that we do have the cursor over that. Debugger misc, it's on quick game button, now it's on story mode button. If I press down on this, it thinks it's story mode. If I press down on this, it still thinks it's story mode. So yeah, it's not sending this the right thing. And I don't know if it's a position. The button event handler get anything at all? Just straight nothing? It presumably gets nothing. Like this doesn't even think I clicked the control, which implies that it's sending it at the wrong location. So, all right, let's do the thing where we just manually type a location here. Let's do new 50/50. Yeah, and then same thing down here. And then let's move the button so that it's actually at 50/50. There. That should cover it. And now it doesn't matter where the mouse is. I can just press page down, page up. Well, that worked. Okay, so yes, it's a positioning problem. But how? Because when I inspect the coordinates, it looks like it should be correct. And this worked. I mean, we could try that thing where we send it to the last mouse position. But I don't think this is going to work because it stops tracking the last mouse position when you hover over GUI control. All right, let's try that. Let's also delete this thing. I am a little frustrated by this stuff because I don't even know what conclusions to draw from all of this. All right, so can we click story mode? Actually, we wouldn't know if we could click story mode, but we'll know if we can click quick game. Okay, so that seems to have worked. So let's put the scene back to how it was. There. So the logo has ignore. I don't really think this matters. I don't know what this used to be though. Was it pass? Or was it stop? Yeah, I guess we could just save it and then go take a look at the diff. Title screen. Mouse filter is changed on that. And we added a button here. The button doesn't really matter. But still, let's try this out. Maybe it's scale, just guessing. Maybe it is. Maybe I need to multiply by the content scale factor. I didn't even think about that. I could try it. All right, so first of all, if I move this, I go over to here. So it's not working. Let's set the scale back down to 1 and see what happens here. I don't think this is going to do anything. No, it didn't. Okay, well, another break is starting. An ad break is starting, so I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey, hello again. Maya, I'm not sure. I saw you, I think, struggling a little bit. The way that the numbers work is 0 is straight up, and then positive numbers go toward the right, like that, and negative numbers go toward the left, like that. So J5 would be like aiming right about there. So we jump, and yeah, sure enough, we kind of arc up there. Whereas J80 would be a very extreme angle like this, where we just kind of fling ourselves off the edge. So hopefully that makes sense. But for now, I'll close the game. So I can't figure out why these positions don't seem to be correct. And we even know what positions they're trying to target. So like if I click here, it says it's at 151, 858. And if I do this and draw a rectangle down to there, oh, it doesn't tell me. Okay, well, I guess we can just do it this way. This measures. 151 is like that, and 858 is actually incorrect, right? Oh, right, because it stops getting mouse motion. Well, that's fine. That's why. Oh man. Hey, Goose. Yeah, it stops getting mouse motion when we do this. If I just say last mouse pause equals this, so this is maybe wrong. Again, we make this take up half the screen. We go over to here. And now I click and it says 163, 893. So that should be this exact number, right? 160. But yeah, I'm like maybe a pixel off or something, but yeah, clearly that's correct. So this is what I don't get. This looks like the correct position. And yet when I send this through here, it doesn't seem to be at the correct position. How about let's try something a little bit different. Let's just warp the mouse to where it currently is. Maybe that'll reveal something. And I'll just delete this thing. So now when I press page up, it should do nothing. But maybe what we find out is that it moves it somewhere completely different. So I'm going to act like I was clicking this button. I press page up. Yeah, it moves to there. Would you look at that? And it just keeps moving up, which seems to imply a scale problem. So what happens if I do this? Now there is no movement. But I tried not having a scale there, and it didn't seem to do anything, right? Although maybe I tried too many variables at once, changing so many. Let's try it again. Okay, so now we click this. And it's working. Okay, I'm giving a point to ABC. Although I don't know how I didn't detect that the first time around. But yeah, so here's what I think we have to do. God, I hate this. I hate this so much. All right, so we do this times, what's it called? Content scale factor? I don't know where you get that from. Content scale factor. It is root window. Root window, which I think is just get root. Okay, I don't remember where this comes from. Root window. How do we find the root window? Root window's passed into here. I'm going to figure out how we do this. There's a root window. Where does that come from? It's passed into load. Entity.getTree.root. So that's what I want. I want to do this content scale factor. Okay. There. So that might work. So if I were to click the settings button, for example, and then come up to here and click this button, this is going to be really hard to do. No, this one doesn't work for some reason. Oh, because we're not on the title screen anymore? No, that's not why. What is going on there? Can I click any of these things? No. No. Oh, no, that is what's going on. Yeah. It's not running this script anymore because we have paused the title screen. Okay, so this is working as intended then. We'll have to fix that at some point. But let's not worry about that for now. So, okay, I click story mode and it's working. I click new game. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this took, what, 2 hours? Oh my God. All right, yeah, this is great. Now, something weird did happen there. Oh, right. Wait, how did that work? I, no, wait. I can't tell what's going on right now. No, it's not. Oh, I'm not on the title screen. What am I? Yeah, I gotta stop doing that. We need some like global mouse listener emulation layer thing. You also may need to involve camera into this. God, this is gonna be annoying. I mean, well, at least we proved that this can work. I'm just not. I need to have this working on a controller pretty soon. So we gotta do that. Yeah, add it to main. I'm probably gonna do that. All right. So what did we what did we learn from this? Let's write down some conclusions, notes on this. I'll just write the notes directly into here, maybe. This note's already out of control. Maybe I should just start making a new note at some point. Yeah. Where's new note? I don't even know how to do this. I actually really don't know how to do this. Huh. I thought there was a button in the UI for that. All right. What are we calling this? Emulating mouse clicks or the mouse. I'll just say virtual mouse in Godot. Why can't I move this? What? Oh, because it's not a folder. I'm being stupid. Oh man, what is causing this? What is going on in my brain today? I think I want Godot UI to be a folder. And if I'm going to do that, then yeah, let's do that. Make UI there. Let's put this up there. And then this. Friday brain, yeah. All right, so virtual overview. A virtual mouse in this case is something like using a controller to emulate the mouse. Basic implementation. And gotchas. All right, so basic implementation looks something kind of like this. Well, I'm just going to include this for now. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Where'd the code go? Okay. So the last mouse position in this case is here. Let's just store that like this. Var mouse position. Okay. Sending mouse down. Well, I guess like clicking. When you press page down, it will send a mouse down event. And then you need to do the same thing. Do the same thing for UI page up, but with pressed equal false. This on its own is not an entire click. You also need to press page up. Gotchas. Content scale factor has to be taken into account. So we should probably just put this here. For example, if the content scale factor is 2, then the mouse coordinates you get will be half of what they should be. All right, and then mouse movement. I want to go do all this with the joystick now. And let's, again, just get this working on the title screen, and let's go figure out what our joystick controls are. So we have a confirm and a deny somewhere. UI select. Nintendo X, really? It can't be right. Maybe it could be right. Can I search for filter by event? Yeah. Nintendo. No, you can't do that. Oh, I could just press the button on my controller though. My controller's not connected anymore for some reason. Oh, right, because of the carabiner events thing. Yeah, great. All right, so now, does this work? No, it's not letting me press the... Oh, there it goes. All right, so what does this say? Nintendo B. That's not even correct. I'm pressing A. What is going on? Why would they say Nintendo B in here? What is something else doing this? Is Steam doing this? I'm gonna close out of Steam. No, something's amiss. Out of curiosity, is this... Yeah, this is just gonna constantly mess up, right? Pointing button. Huh. I mean, those are fine. That, Nintendo Plus, Nintendo Minus, that's correct. Home. Okay, that's weird. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, these are backwards, though. And what does the screenshot button do? Nothing. That doesn't even get registered. Whoa, what? Don't allow. Okay, apparently that is a thing. What about pressing the sticks in? Yeah, that works fine. That's everything I've got, right? Then the D-pad. All right, so these are reversed for some reason, but who cares? So I'll just get this working on this one, and maybe we make new actions for this just to test this out. I don't already have this bound to something, do I? If I press M, what happens? Yeah, it shows that it's bound. But if I press this, it's not bound. And if I press this, it's not bound. Okay, so let's go make some new things. So add new action. We're just going to call this like testaroni click. Sure. Okay, now we add an event and we press B on the controller, which it thinks is A. And that's it. So now we have this click thing. So is pressed testaroni click. Let me make sure did I say, yeah, I said click. Okay. And then is released. Okay, so now we should be able to use the B button to click, but not to move the mouse. We can't do anything else. So all I have to do is point at this and then press B. There we go. So now it's like I have a mouse, but it only works on the title screen. So now for movement, we probably want things like acceleration and controlling the sensitivity of this eventually. But for now, let's do like what we saw in here. Cursor speed. If is 0 approximately. If it's not 0 approximately, and do this stuff. And this is how we're going to warp the mouse. And do I have these set up in the project settings? I'm guessing I don't. UI camera left. The question is, what would you expect to use for the mouse? How about we just set it to the right stick for now? Yeah, let's just set it to the right stick for now. So I want left to go left here. So let's add a new action. We'll call this testaroni left. I just want to make sure I rename all these things. That's why I'm calling it this. Testaroni right. Up. And down. Okay, now we go set all those things up. So this is left. Right. Up. Down. Okay. Save that. Thought it'd be something like a JSON file where you map each button. It kind of is. I mean, all this is just inside of a project.godot. So they've got their own file. This is not exactly JSON, but they've got their own format here for this. And yeah, you could just modify it through there if you wanted to. All right, so we want something similar to this code. Input.getVector. So I guess we check for if you've pressed any of these. Yeah, we could just do exactly this, right? Vector2 diff equals input.getVector. Okay, just replace cursor with testeroni. And then multiply it by a speed, which we're saying is 10. I don't know if that matters. If that, cool. Okay, so this should all be good. Relative is diff. This is diff times delta. Delta doesn't exist here. We should be doing this in process, I'm guessing. Is that what happened over here too? Yeah. Have you tried using AI to help you out? Yeah, I have. I'm welcome in Sembo. Okay, so let's put all this over here. We don't have a process, but I'll go add one really fast. Override process. Okay. Cool, and then this will be delta. Except for it should be times. Everything else should be good. Times cannot be used for the difference in that. Because what velocity needs to be... Oh, velocity is a vector. What, do we scale it? How do you do this? Maybe we just have to say it's a float? Yeah, that should work. And then parse the event. Yeah. Okay, let's try this out. I mean, ideally, we should now have essentially a mouse out of a controller. So let's see. Can we move this? No. Oh, wait. Oh, it's the right stick. But we still can't. So what's going on here? Let's put a breakpoint there. Oh, wait. No, I can't put a breakpoint there. I got to put a breakpoint on this one. Oh, it's working. I'm just not calling warp mouse. Input.warp mouse. I want to get the current position, which is this. And then I want to add in the diff. I think that'll work. All right. Man. Okay, we can move the mouse. Look at that. Very smooth. We go down here and we click this. We go up here and we click this. We're playing a game. And then that's it. It stops because we're not on the title screen. So there's very little we actually can do from the title screen. I guess we can do these sorts of things. Yeah, this isn't bad. All right, that button doesn't do anything right now. Yeah, this is actually pretty decent. Okay, so we're at 2.5 hours for me to have struggled my way through this. We definitely, oh nice, yeah, you can even click that. Yeah, we probably want some other ways of doing this. Can we detect how much you move the mouse? Oh, we can already, yeah. Huh. Okay, so we can already control the velocity of this, and we could make this be controlled through a setting as well. So if I double the speed of this, like I don't know what's going to feel good. And also I need to consider that people might not have content scale on. And maybe we want to take that into account for this. So how do I, let's see how long it takes to go from the left all the way to the right side. That was about 5 seconds. And now we do this. And it should take twice as long. No. So it's moving in absolute coordinates because we haven't taken the scale factor into account. And I don't know whether we should take that into account. I mean, I guess it all depends on how tiny the buttons are. But you just have a setting somewhere, presumably just like how, whoops, I'm pressing the wrong thing. Oh yeah, now I can't do this. You'd have a setting like this. You'd have a slider that just has mouse sensitivity when you're using the controller. Oh man, okay. Well, I'm glad this wasn't too crazy. We still have a lot of work to do. But given the amount of frustration, I wonder if I should hold off for a bit and like take a break. Also, I'm pressing this in order to access. I'll just rebind it. Where is it? Test running click, here it is. Okay, so I'll just add a new thing here and we'll just press that. In fact, let's just make it practically everything. I don't want to I want to think about this stuff. There. And then we just move this code into main. I wonder how hard it is to just play the game with no other affordances whatsoever. Yeah, let's go try that now. All right, so we don't need this mouse motion at... In fact, we're not even using this. We don't need this or this. I'm going to put this in main for now, but it shouldn't even go there eventually. Let's just copy paste everything. Yeah, get rid of this stuff now. Go to main. Do we have an unhandled input? We don't. So we throw this in here. We get rid of this. I'm keeping last mouse position, although I still need to clean up all this code. This is not actually needed. We're just going to throw it in somewhere. Don't care. And then we need a process here as well. And this needs to always work even when it's paused. Does this have process mode? No, it doesn't. It's going to need that. And we don't have a process anyway, which is why it doesn't need a process mode. Public override process. Okay, didn't realize I copy pasted that already. All right, so how are we looking now? Pretty good. And then in here, we just set process mode equals always. This is for our mouse input handling or emulation. All right, so how are we looking? This can all be deleted. This can be deleted. The prints can stay. I don't care about that. This stuff should work. So now it should work in the entire game, right? Did I delete it from here? Yes. Did I delete that? Yes. Okay, let's try. Oh, man. All right. So it's working on the title screen. We're going to try to... Actually, let's try this. Let's try changing the settings. And increase the master volume. And the music volume. Nice. Show quick move menu. All right, so yeah, it's a little bit hard to target something like this because this is pretty tiny. And like I can move the mouse a little bit, but that's as slow as I can move it. That probably has to do with the dead zone of my controller. But yeah, let's start a new game. I just want to see what happens here. Yeah, we can pan the camera like this, but I could actually just use this. This is pretty usable. Amazed by the speed that you code. I'm a developer and it takes me ages to do little things. I don't know if you saw it today, but it's been 2.5 hours to get this working. This should not have taken 2.5 hours. If you mean the actual, like, me typing out code, yeah, that's a little bit different. But I think you can get better at that. And welcome in, Fernando. Okay, so let's try some things. Let's go hire an adventurer. So having confirm buttons work here, like, you know what? Let's just go bind those. I'll save this and I'll quit. Is this working weirdly? Something strange seemed to be happening there. All right, so how do we get confirm? We're going to bind that to A, which it thinks is B. And then there's a cancel somewhere here. We're going to bind that to B, which it thinks is A. And then we're going to change this. Click is going to be removed. And we'll set that to Y, I guess. So again, I'm just testing this with what's the simplest possible thing. Like we have already pretty much, we have it set up. Do you need event of moving a mouse if you warp the mouse? I don't know exactly sure what you're talking about, but probably not. Yeah, we don't need this. Actually, no, you might need this for the sake of hovering over tooltips. Let's try it out. Watching some of your previous streams, believe me, you're best. Okay, I see. Well, yeah, welcome in. Okay, so yeah, let's try it with this. No, you do need the event because now tooltips aren't showing up. And sounds aren't happening. The event is still needed for the sake of mouse entered / exited events. Or signals, I should say. Again, I just want to try. I'm not going to like play through a whole run here. I just want to see how annoying is it if I did nothing else here. Also, is the mouse moving okay? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so story mode, new game. Gonna hire an adventurer. Oh yeah, so now I can do this. I can press A on this dialogue. Yeah, nice. So I hired the rogue. Now I can put them both into here. Yeah, so like A doesn't do anything here because we never set up enter to hit this button, but those are the kinds of things we're gonna have to do. These are easy affordances to make because we just need an if statement saying if you press A, then, you know, activate that button. In some cases, it won't be super obvious what should the confirm button be. But in that case, it's not too bad. So like we can build a garbage slime. In fact, some of this stuff is actually pretty easy. We can close this dialogue. Yeah, this is already pretty decent. We can probably move items around, but for that, we probably need... Let's send them to battle again. Let's get the town hall. And then get auto battle. And now turn on auto battle. And I want to try moving an item myself. So it's doable. I think just giving you the quick move menu would be great. Maybe even making it a radial menu or something. Oh, nice. This already works. That's kind of cool. Yeah. This isn't bad. Okay. And then we can bind buttons for everything else that makes sense. Yeah, not too shabby. Now, I'm making it sound like there's not a lot of work. I think there is a decent amount of work to do, but I think it's at least solvable. Whereas before the last 2 hours happened, I did not know that this was going to be easy or solvable. And again, this is me just playing with controller right now. And yeah, I think it works pretty well. Now we should be able to access the menu. No, I didn't bind a key for that. Yeah, part of this depends on Kevin's PR because he made it so that you can rebind the keys that you have. Actually, being able to control the camera and the mouse together is pretty helpful. Hey, Miko. You can make the movement speed increase based on time held over a certain threshold if you want to make it so you have slower controlled movement. Yeah. I think that's generally considered like acceleration. You would make it accelerate and not just immediately move to like max speed, which, to be fair, like physics kind of makes that happen to some extent because in order to press the controller to the right, you need to start by pressing it slightly to the right, but you typically do that so fast that, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we probably need to tweak some of that stuff. I am feeling pretty good about this though, because this feels usable to me. Now let's get the warehouse. Put some items in the warehouse. Actually, let's try with a quick move menu. I don't have a way to cheat via controller, but I can do it there. All right, so we're gonna get this. And then we're gonna try moving an item to the shop. So we just do that. Yeah, that's pretty good. In fact, it pretty much already is a radial menu. Pretty cool. All right, let's go unlock the canyon. Fight. I don't know if this is something you control, something in your control as a game dev, but also consider testing with different types of controllers. Looks like a Nintendo Switch controller, my preference too. Oh yeah. So what you're talking about is something that you would customize in the settings. Eventually we'll have a button here that says you can change your keybinds. I don't think there's any set of keybinds you can have by default that's going to please everybody, because just the fact that Nintendo controllers are reversed means that either you need to detect their controller type and then change it dynamically, or you need to just count on some percentage of your users being like, well, this is reversed. I gotta go fix it. And I've played all sorts of games with a controller, and I've been annoyed by that. And the UI not changing in the game, too. But yeah, this feels pretty good. And thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah, so we could do nice little things like when you click Hire Adventure, we move the cursor immediately over to here. I don't know for sure that would be appreciated, because maybe you click Hire Adventure to see what's in the dialogue and you're like, no, I don't want that. And you go down to perks. If it moved the cursor on you, you'd be like, oh, now I got to move it way back up here to get the perks. And we can have some shortcuts for some of these things. In fact, you can already bind those now, I guess. So, okay, I got 2 more adventurers. Let's send them all into here. That's what Steam input is for? Let you adjust the buttons yourself? Yeah, yeah. But this won't just be distributed through Steam. So it'll also be on itch. And that's why we'll have the key bindings in there. Maybe when the player clicks it, you move the cursor, but if they hit the back button, it closes the dialogue and moves the cursor back. Yeah, we could potentially try something like that. That's not a bad idea. Where'd the ideas section go? Here it is. A menu item like adventurers. Move the cursor, but if they hit the back button, it closes. Yeah, nice. And yeah, being able to see tooltips and stuff, I think that's pretty helpful. Yeah. Oh, we need the armor shop. Okay, I'm trying some different things now. I think making very large drop zones, like the entire farm should probably be a drop zone. Yeah. The game still didn't change it, but the glyphs were backwards. Yeah. Hey, Roots. So the quick move menu is still king here for this stuff. Yeah. And how do I zoom in and out? I don't think I can right now. But I think that would also help players. Because then you could get finer control by, well, I guess not really. Because now it's going to seem like the cursor's just zipping across the, well, no, I guess it is finer control, just not for the camera. Yeehaw. It's so funny to me. Yeah, okay. Let's just save and quit. Oh, man. All right. Wow. What a day so far. Okay, so I think in the afternoon what we're going to do is make a solid to-do list in its own tab in the document. And make a component out of what I did in main. I want it to be in its own isolated place. I'll say encapsulated. That's a little bit clearer from what I want. What else do we have? How much time will it take? Oh yeah, how much time? Estimate how much time it will take to do this. I'm fine with it taking up to a week. We can spare that for something this big. Yeah. Excuse me. Wow. Yeah, wow. I feel like this morning was a roller coaster. Started working on controller support. And when I look at the amount of code that we added, it's so little. Like, look at this. This didn't even change, right? That shouldn't have changed. Yeah, and this definitely shouldn't be there. So yeah, this stuff didn't even really change. I got to delete that stuff. So it was really just this. This is what it took to get the basic controller support. We have process for movement and we have unhandled input for clicking. That's it. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun that that took 3 hours? I'll stop being bitter about this in the afternoon. Yeah. But I do think it's probably a good idea to take a break now. And honestly, I'd be happy if we didn't get anything else done today. But what should be very easy is just getting organized. Like I'll make a new tab and I'll design/thoughts. Yeah, I'll make a new tab here for to do, and we'll start moving some stuff over there. I'll do that in the afternoon though. I'm gonna end the morning stream a little bit early. It's 11:10. I'll go get some food. I'll take a break. I'll relax for a bit. I'll be back by 1 p.m. for the afternoon stream, but it should be sooner than that. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Again, summary of what we did really fast is just this. It's a very quick demo. You can move a control stick to move the mouse, and you can click. And you can also dismiss this and say yes to this right from the controller. So like works how you'd expect. So we got some basic controls here. How do you manage eye fatigue? I just use eye drops once a day, but I really should do more than that and take breaks and everything. So yeah, I'll be back in a bit. Again, thank you all. Sorry for my frustration, and take care.